Hey, how's it going, Heretics? James here. So I'm here at the Crozius GT. Let me go ahead and get the sign for the store in the background. So we're at Maelstrom Games and Hobbies. So yeah, 5-round GT, over 2 days down in Hampstead, North Carolina. Today I brought the TJ Lanigan-ish tweak on the list. I will show you guys what I tweaked, and I will talk about it here in a bit. But yeah, wish me luck, and we'll go inside the store. So let's get at it. Alright, so welcome to the Crozius GT. Here's some of the tables that we'll be playing on. So this is their inaugural GT here in the store. So as y'all can see, it's pretty packed. Everybody's showing up. And so the tables I helped set up. We tried as best as possible to kind of make the tables as fair. But you're going to see some of them are different because we kind of had to use what we had, right? So, and yeah. So I will come back here in a little while, and during my round one. Oh, you want to be in it, Sean? Hi, Sean. So me and him set up the tables. How you doing, buddy? Good. You can't beat me today with iron hands. Alright, so I apologize for the state that the list is in. So this is the list that I'm taking today. So I brought just the tray today. I didn't bring my display board because I'm not going for best painted, because obviously I have unpainted models in here. So mostly because I borrowed a Magnus. So I figured I don't want to paint my buddy's Magnus because he's a pro painter. So I was like, I'll just take it as it is, right? So I've got 3 Plague Burst Crawlers with the Potspringer. That is in a Nurgle Spearhead detachment. Then I have 2 Demon Princes, one with the Hellforged Axe and one with Claws. The Hellforged Axe one is my Warlord. I gave him the 3-up Invulnerable save, Warlord trait, and the Helm of Command. And then we got good old Ahriman. And then I have a Demons battalion. So this is 10 Brimstones that kind of slid behind my models there. 20 Horrors. This is my Changecaster. He's different colored, so it's easy to tell. This is my Changeling. And then I have 30 Plague Bearers with the icon and the instrument. So, wish me luck. Lots of Marines here. I think over half the field is Marines. So we will see how I do. And I will come back to you guys at game 1. So game 1 is against my buddy Xavier. Say hi, Xavier. So he watches the channel. And so, funny enough, it's a mirror match. Except he has 3 Daredeo Dreadnoughts and Magnus and a bunch of characters. And other than that, it's kind of the same. And oddly enough, we both picked the exact same secondaries: Kingslayer, Big Hunter, Headhunter. So I'm sad that this had to come down to game 1, but yeah, we'll see what happens. So game 1 saw me playing Xavier Villarreal. Sorry if I messed up your name, Xavier. So this game saw me playing Magnus versus Magnus. A lot of fun. So after deployment, I ended up getting first turn, and Xavier failed 2 Cs, and off we went. The first turn was pretty eventful, so I actually ended up getting my Magnus across the table. Obviously, it was a huge psychic battle, and at the end of the psychic phase, I ended up picking up a few Plague Bearers, not very many. However, the biggest thing was I successfully got off a warp time, because I did use the stratagem to get +2 to cast and jump my Magnus across the table towards him. Ended up getting a few mortal wounds on... I shot Magnus with a couple Plague Burst Crawlers, actually peeled a few wounds off of him, and then charged in my Magnus to clear out his Magnus. Which was kind of the big deal there, right? Now, a key here was that I failed to get Weaver off on Magnus, and I did get the -1 hit Glamour on him. So Xavier went ahead, and he basically moved all of his Daredeos, and blew Magnus off the table. I actually failed pretty much all my saves, and Magnus died in a fiery blaze of glory. This was kind of a theme. Those Daredeos were just like hellacious. They did so much damage. The turn 2 kind of saw pretty much a standoff. You know, it was jockeying for position. Me get my Plague Bearers in position while throwing down smites and things like that. And I did end up getting my Plague Bearers to wrap around his front unit. I don't know if it was this turn or the next turn. But yeah, and we just slowly plugged away at each other. Now, the game really did end up kind of slowing down to a crawl. We didn't get past turn 4. When we finished turn 4, we had 3 minutes left. Xavier said, hey, do we want to talk it out? And looking at the score, at this point, I was 6 points ahead. So looking at the table, the most he might have gotten would be 5 points. And all I would have to do is kill something, hold something, and I would have still won the game. Now, yes, it would have given me a few more points. But I was like, well, we'll just call it here with 3 minutes left. Really, really good game, and we'll go to see how Xavier thought about the game. We're not going to Jersey Mike's. That's literally what we just talked about. So, Xavier, game, what'd you think?
So obviously the mirror match, it really I thought it would come down to who got first turn.
Yeah.
But then we just swapped Magnus's first turn, and I think that you had a little bit more of an advantage without Magnus than I do. My list really depends on Magnus to take away firepower from my Daradeos.
Yeah.
And you don't care because you got Plague Bear Scholars.
Yeah. Well, in the end, the Daradeos...
But it was a slugfest all the way up to the end.
And in the end, the Daradeos...
It really came down to your Plague Bears held more and got the bonus every turn.
Yep.
That took it away from me.
Right. So the score, the end of the game, 20-14. We ended on turn 4 with 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
We called it at that point with 3 minutes left. I have a Demon Prince, a Poxbringer, a bunch of horrors, and a bunch of characters left. And he's got Ahriman, some Brimstones.
I still have 3 Daradeos.
He still has 3 Daradeos.
They're about to get tagged hard. Man.
So we talked about it. I'm probably going to end up tagging a couple of them. But the Daradeos were kicking my Demon Princes to death, which was weird.
Yeah, dude. They're good in combat.
I forgot about
those 3 attacks, man.
Yeah, the 3 attacks at strength 7 or whatever. But no, it was really good, man. I had a lot of fun. Never faced a Magnus mirror match. I think it was the first. So
yeah, it's not as fun as you might think it would.
No,
be.
It's not. It's not because I killed your Magnus, you killed my Magnus,
and then it's just brutal.
Then it was like, okay,
Plague Bear on Plague Bear action.
That sounds really weird. It sounds really weird.
Great.
But no, I was glad I got to play you. And I mean it. Like regardless, you guys are gonna see the pictures. Had it gone to like turn 5, turn 6. I was probably going to end up holding more every turn, and he was going to end up killing more.
He was about to tip heavily.
Yeah, so it was going to be like maybe a point difference at the end. It really boiled down to that. So, no, great game, Xavier.
Great game, man.
Great game, buddy. And next game. All right, so game 2 is going to be against Adam. Say hi, Adam. Hi to the YouTube. So he's playing Harlequins, and I'm playing the Demons again. So as you guys can see, this is how we deployed. I'm talking really, really fast, so that way we can get going. And that's how he deployed. So he doesn't have very many drops because of his Skyweavers. So he's going first, and I chose not to seize. So I will come back to you guys at the end of the game. So the end of game 2. So Adam did not want to be on the video. It ended really, really badly. Not really going to go into things, but I killed a lot of his army turn 1, and he didn't kill nearly as much of my army as he would like. It kind of boiled down to him being out of position, and I positioned myself in a way that if he did what I wanted, it was going to be real bad, and that's kind of what ended up happening. So, sorry, Adam. Like I said, that's all we'll talk about. So, on to game 3. All right, so game 3 here at the Maelstrom. So we've got Demons against the fantastic Grey Knights with some Land Raiders. Hi, James. So James is my opponent, playing his good old Grey Knights. And yeah, we will see what ends up happening. We have deployed. He is going first. I failed to seize, so Land Raiders stuff. Yeah. All right. Game 3 saw me playing James Hampstead. Now, as y'all can see, Grey Knights. Oh my god. First time ever. We don't see very, very many Grey Knights players in the world. Now, I will tell you, Grey Knights actually really like to play Demons. And we're going to find out why in this battle. And so I will say, caveat to this game, for you guys who have been on Discord or listened to what I put on the Facebook page, I did end up losing this game. Now, the deployment was kind of tricky. It was hammer and anvil. He put his 2 land raiders to both sides of the ruins on his side, with the paladins and all of his characters in the bottom, and all of his strike squads were actually inside of the 2 land raiders. He split the 1 squad into 2 combat squads, and then had the other 2 squads in the other one, which meant that he got the +1 to roll. I deployed kind of in a weird, funky position, so I will say a key problem that I did here was I placed Magnus in a way that his wing was closer to the Grey Knights than the Plague Bearers because of the way I placed the Plague Bearers. And this actually comes into play pretty obviously this first turn. So James gets first because I did fail. So we rolled off. He got the +1. He rolled a 1 and I rolled a 2. So, and then he re-rolled and actually rolled a 5, and I failed to seize. So he moves up and gets everything into position. Now, his dice just go bonkers. In a psychic phase, every single cast he made, he either rolled a 8. Well, pretty much I'll just say the average was a 10 if you include the +1. Which Grey Knights all get +1 to their cast, which I did not know until this game. I forgot about that. And so he got off 7 smites and all of his buff powers. So just so you guys know, Grey Knights do an automatic 3 damage on their smites. So 3 of the smites were able to hit Magnus, which meant he took 9 damage. I did fail I passed 1 Feel No Pain, so he took 8 damage. And then the rest went into the Plague Bearers, so killing a few of them. Then he went ahead and shot his last cannons, and I failed 4 out of 4 invulnerable saves on Magnus. And as you guys can guess, Magnus bit it. Now, it wasn't a terrible thing. He shot a bunch of bolters in the Plague Bearers and peeled a few off. But the biggest thing was he killed Magnus, right? My first turn rolls around. I reposition and basically place my army to where he might be able to deny maybe a couple spells. But I was lining up for his right-hand Land Raider. Well, the dice gods smite me. I naturally fail all but 1 smite. I actually had to use a reroll to get off the 1 smite because I was so mad at my dice at this point that I was like, screw it. I'm using my Gaze of Fate, which I did get Gaze of Fate off to reroll this. I failed all of my other damage spells naturally. He didn't even have to cancel them. The 1 spell I did get off, he tried to cancel and actually didn't. But it was awful. 7 out of 8 psychic powers failed naturally. Yes, really bad. At this point, so I shoot. I don't even kill a strike squad. I think my mortars and my sluggers and everything just they don't even pick up a 5-man strike squad that was in the open, by the way. And yeah, it just goes downhill from here. His turn 2. Everything goes in the Plague Bearers, peels them all the way down to 2 bodies left, and then he kills 2 Plague Burst Crawlers, because his smites and stuff are ridiculous. I go in, I end up clearing out like 15 Marines, but at this point, all I've got left is a handful of characters and some horrors. I end up calling it at the top of 3 after he jumps his paladins out of ruins so that he can get a smite off, because I did cancel Astral Aim, but I did fail to deny him the jump power that they get. Basically, I was trying to keep because he didn't fall back with a Land Raider from my Demon Prince Warlord, and I was actually hoping to force him to charge into him and waste a bunch of stuff. But that was not to be had. It's really, really bad. My positioning was terrible, and just James capitalized on it. So we will go to the end of game and see what James had to say. All right, so end of game 3. I lost terribly. Didn't even tally it up. Turn
Dice.
one, yeah, dice. So turn one, he killed Magnus. Straight 3 damage smites, really hurt.
Last cannons.
Yeah, is my poor positioning, so I'm gonna say it was kind of a lot of that. But then turn 2, I failed 8 psychic powers. I failed every single smite except for
Not
one.
a single cast went off. Well,
Yeah.
one, but it was a worthless.
Yeah, it was one smite went off, and as you guys can tell, it went downhill. Here, I'll show you the table real quick. really bad. But anyways, as opposed to that, you got to stay positive, right? So, so James is now 3-0 with Grey Knights. So you can win with Grey Knights. So what do you think of the game?
Well, I mean, the dice were so bad. I mean, it was going to be a rough matchup for Chaos Demons anyway. Like, that I already knew. I already had a game plan for beating Chaos lists in general if they had demons. That's why, like, I did the split with the combat squads. I was getting so many different smites off. Like, I'm not super afraid of demons, and even with the terrain, I have Astrolabe, which is, by the way, if you guys are trying to play Grey Knights and you're wondering how to win with them, Astrolabe is the best power in the book, and if you're not using it, you're doing it wrong. So, abuse the crap out of that power until it gets changed, because it's great.
Yeah, and I did know Astrolabe worked for psychic powers, and I did not know that it, because I've only ever faced it when people do it on like big stuff, so I didn't know it worked on a squad of paladins.
Yeah, you can use it on any model, so like, if, for example, that Plague Burst Crawler in the back that I couldn't reach, I was going to start Astrolabing a Land Raider to las cannon.
Yeah, so, no, it was really, it was a good game. I had a lot of fun. Well,
yeah, I mean, other than the dice were so one-sided, though, like, because the game is winnable either way. But when the dice just say no, it's just, and it was really bad, guys, like, not even exaggerating. Like,
no, it was
so bad.
It was pretty terrible. He did.
Because I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to deny a lot of these psychic powers. He's got like a whole bunch. He's got like 10 psychic powers, and it was like,
I think your average cast was a 10. I think your average cast. Yeah, his dice were real hot.
I had so many high casts, and he literally could not get a psychic power off. I didn't even have to deny. It just didn't. They just didn't.
Yeah, it is what it is. No, good game, man. I hope that you finish this out.
I'll try to. I'm gonna have to play against Space Marines tomorrow, probably, if I keep winning, and then that's gonna be real bad. I'm gonna get to it.
And it's gonna be rough.
It is what it is.
Hey,
I'm just happy I'm.
You kicked the shit out of Magnus.
It was a thematic game, though.
Yeah, it was. No, it was
the Grey Knights were always going to purge the demons. That's what they're here for. That's what they're experts in, demon hunters. So.
That is true. All right, well, good game, man, and GG. Good luck the rest of the way. All right, so game 4 against the Red Scorpions, actually. As a matter of fact, they are all actually Red Scorpions. He actually has the shoulder pads and everything, so yes, awesome. And it's Jason. Hi, Jason.
Hey, how's it going?
And we are playing Pony Dawn of War, ITC mission number 4, and he is deployed. I take it you want to go first?
I do, sir.
Okay, he wants to go first, and yeah, we will come back at the end of the game. Game number 4 saw me play against Jason King. Now, Jason is a lot of fun. I have talked to him quite a bit, and I just literally met him at my last GT, and so this is kind of the second time we're meeting up, and he's a super nice guy, and I have a lot of fun talking to him. So he was bringing Iron Hands, and not your traditional Iron Hands. Actually, he pretty much brought one of everything in the Codex. One Leviathan, one Derideo, one Repulsor, one Mortar Strut, so just kind of one of all sorts of different stuff. Now, he was using some of the Faith and Fury things, which I did not know about, like the Master of the Forge with the +1 hit aura, which was pretty cool. So we deployed, and Jason ended up getting first. Now, as everybody knows, I always want to take first against Marines when I can. That way you can get set up. Well, I didn't get it. So I kind of settled in for the worst. So Jason went ahead and moved forward. Now he made a couple critical mistakes on this first. So he made a few key mistakes throughout the game. Now we agreed that the middle 2 buildings there were treated like Nova L's. Just multi-floor Nova L. So basically anywhere that would be considered a wall would be a wall. Can't see through them, and you could move up and down the floors or through the walls with infantry. So his first mistake, when he placed his eliminators, he placed them in a way that basically they couldn't see at anything. So he had to shoot the line of sight, ignoring shots. which was mistake number 1. Mistake number 2, first turn, he did not move his Leviathan. I actually measured out and made sure that my Plague Burst crawlers were outside of 24, and that if he wanted to shoot at them, he would have to move. Well, he ended up not moving, and ended up being out of range turn 1. And that was about it for first turn, were his key mistakes. So he ends up throwing pretty much the entire army into Magnus, and Magnus lives with 10 wounds, I believe he had. Yeah, 10 wounds. Yeah, but it was 9 or 10. But anyways, yeah, 10, because he was still on full bracket. So yeah, really, really good for me, right? And he did a few wounds to the one of the Plague Burst crawlers, and killed a couple Plague Bearers. So I go ahead and move up. Magnus does end up warp timing himself across the field, setting up a charge into his back lines. So this is where I make a mistake. Then I go ahead and reposition everything else to go towards this flyer. Plague Burst crawlers just kind of shuffle around. So I go ahead and shoot, and in my psychic phase, I end up only putting 3 mortal wounds on the flyer. Not very good. Or 4 wounds. 4 wounds because they have 11, right? Yeah. 4 mortal wounds on him. Magnus ends up warp timing him. So I kind of bait out the 4-up deny strat from Jason. I believe it was on the healing spell. The healing spell still goes off, and I heal Magnus for 2. And I do get all the buffs on Magnus, or all but Glamour on Magnus. And then Magnus charges over his Marines into his Mortis Dread and his Captain right there. And kind of the whole idea here was to pile into the to his Leviathan, so that way the Leviathan couldn't shoot either. Well, Jason's super smart, and he goes ahead and heroically intervenes both of those characters over there. Oh, I forgot to kind of mention anything else. I dropped some Plague Burst Crawler shots on the Daradio. Now, I did not realize that, that his little Tech Marine dude, who is his Warlord, could heal automatic 3, which sucks. So, basically, yeah, that was all for naught. I should have shot those mortars at something else. And then the Plague Bearers, so this is kind of key. The Plague Bearers actually charge into his Invictor Warsuit, wrap around it, and touch his Eliminators. So this actually ends up being pretty key, because it's locking down quite a bit of his army and making the Plague Bearers, because after the pile and consolidate, I actually wrap around the Invictor Warsuit completely, meaning that he can't run away. But I do stop the Eliminators from shooting. Now, in the Magnus combat, and the 2 Demon Princes try to charge at his flyer, only 1 ends up making it. So in the combat with the flyer, I put it to 3 wounds. He actually rolled really, really, really well for his saves, and the flyer lives with 3 wounds. In the Magnus combat, so this gets kind of funky. So he pops Duty Eternal on the Dreadnought, and he uses what is it? The one where you can't wound him unless it's a 4-up. I can't remember on the Captain. And I go ahead and split Magnus's attacks. Now, I had split them before he did this, because the way the strats work is when you declare the model as a target for the attack, right? So essentially, I had to declare how many attacks were going where, and then he went ahead and did it. So I did 4 and 4. So I swing, I hit all 4 on the Captain, all 4 on the Dreadnought. Now I roll the wounds on the Dreadnought, and I end up rolling 3 1s and one actual wound. So this Dreadnought does not have an invulnerable save. Statistically average, even though he had Duty Eternal, I should have killed it, because Mortis Dreadnoughts only have 8 wounds. Only end up doing 2 wounds to it. Really bad, sad, because I was like, crap, I could have re-rolled one of these if I should have statistically failed 1, and I would have killed it, right? It happens. Now, as Captain, I rolled the wounds over there, and I rolled 2 wounds and failed 2. So I'm like, okay, well, you're probably going to end up saving at least 1 of these, because he's just a normal Captain. So I was like, I'll go ahead and re-roll a wound. Re-roll it. I actually get it through. He rolls the saves, fails all of them. Thank God. He goes ahead and spends CP because he is not running Iron Hands. He's running a Successor Chapter. That way he can get a 6-up Feel No Pain and fails all the Feel No Pains, and I kill the captain. Really good for me because that was his Warlord. So Magnus goes in and kills the Warlord turn 1. Other than that, I think I peeled off a couple Marines here and there, and not too much. His turn 2 rolls around. He falls back to Mortis Dreadnought and positions everything. Now, he ends up shooting the entire army into Magnus. Literally every single model goes into Magnus, leaving at 3 wounds. He makes a critical mistake here. He's so busy focusing, shooting all of his stuff, that he ends up forgetting to shoot the Leviathan Dreadnought. Really sad, because I'm pretty sure he was going to kill Magnus with his 2 wounds left. So Jason moves into combat. He charges a bunch of Marines into Magnus. Magnus ends up sweeping away quite a few of them. I think he killed an entire unit this turn. And his little flyer in the back ends up doing a few wounds. So Plague Burst Crawler ends up going to 3 wounds. I forget what exactly shoots at it. I forget what actually shoots at it. And then he does a couple wounds to the Changeling in the building there on the bottom left. Now, my turn 2. So kind of a fail. I end up trying to smite off all the Marines on Magnus, and I end up rolling really bad for the damage. Magnus, he does his D6 smite. I end up only doing 2 wounds, even with a reroll. I only do 2 wounds. And then I get like a couple more smite, or 1 more smite on him, and leave 1 dude at 1 wound. So, which sucks, because I was actually going to use Magnus to charge into his Mortis Dread. Now, at this point, I'm actually piling and consolidating the Plague Bearers slowly across the field, because, they have to go towards the closest models. So they actually are getting like towards his Leviathan, because he's got Eliminators and stuff there. And so I do end up charging into and killing all the Eliminators, and then end up touching the Leviathan this turn. And touching him with a Demon Prince and some Plague Bearers, because they end up like getting that far up, right? And then I smite a bunch on his Invictor Warsuit and leave it at like 4 or 5 wounds. So the neat thing is he ends up killing a few Plague Bearers, and then I do roll a 1 and actually spawn enough Plague Bearers to actually surround the Leviathan, which actually pins it in place. This ends up being actually incredibly key. I do kill his flyer. Yeah, I believe he killed the flyer this turn. Did I kill the Invictor Warsuit? Maybe I killed the Invictor Warsuit this turn. It was either this turn or the next turn. But anyways, the Invictor Warsuit does blow up, taking out a few Plague Bearers and leaving Ahriman at 1 wound, and the change caster on that side is left at 2 wounds, and he does kill my Poxbringer, so he gets a Headhunter point. And then I kill his flyer, and his flyer blows up and kills the Changeling. Oh god, terrible. So it's funny, because we're actually pacing each other for kills, because because I'm killing his stuff that's blowing up and killing my stuff. So things are going his way at this point with that sort of thing. So the rest of the game kind of boils down. Magnus ends up dying, obviously. The Leviathan combat ends up lasting way longer than I would like. It actually takes me like 2 turns to kill it. But in the meantime, the Plague Bearers being tied up there is actually making everything else behind them untargetable. I do drop in the Horrors, and then they launch all their bolts at the Marines out of cover. But I failed Flickering Flames? Yes. So I'm actually wounding the Marines on 4s, which is really terrible, and I don't do nearly as many wounds to the Marines as I would like, and only kill like 1, I think. It was really, really bad. And yeah, the game just kind of grinds and grinds and grinds and grinds. We do end up fully finishing the game. We had to talk out our very last turn to make time for lunch, and the score ends up being 32-19. And let's go to the end of the game with Jason.
Get taller.
Get taller? He's taller. He's taller. Hey, how's it going? So
Hey, how's it going?
my second opponent, or third, fourth, we're fourth round, aren't we?
Fourth
round. Fourth round opponent was Jason with his Iron Hand. So what do you think of the game, sir?
Mistakes were made.
Mistakes were made. They were definitely
A
made.
good game. A very close and tight game until the end.
Yeah.
And then you started dragging it away from my hands.
Yeah. No, I think it was like two points separating us on turn 3, and then I was able to finally kill the Leviathan, and that freed up all my stuff to just
Spread out and gather
spread
points.
out and gather points.
All
So,
the points.
He wanted me to kill the Leviathan earlier, but my dice were not cooperating with that plan. So.
Not at all.
And your dice weren't either. You're making a lot of 4-ups.
No,
so,
too many 4-ups.
Too many 4-ups. So sometimes good dice is bad, especially
Definitely.
there. So no, it was a great game. I had a lot of fun. So
Definitely, sir.
yeah, let's go get some lunch, and yeah, see you guys in
Time
the
for
next
burritos.
game. Burrito time, yeah. Go ahead and start. So let Mike get started. So hi, Mike. Hi. So Mike's my opponent. He's going first. He's got Eldar. I'm deployed. So they already started the round. So letting him go ahead and start his turn. So wish me luck. Game 5 saw me play against Mike Welch. So Mike was a lot of fun, and he's playing his Eldar today. So he was using a lot of Faith and Fury things, stuff that I'm quite not familiar with. I will say I was quite surprised by some of the stuff he was doing. So as an example, one of his Shining Spears units was using the withdraw tactic, which I believe is where you can just fall back and operate like normal. All of his Dark Reapers had +6 inches, which was surprising to me because I kind of expected to actually outrange them most of the game with the Plague Burst Crawlers, but he ended up actually outranging me for most of the game. So it was really interesting. He was using some spells from Faith and Fury and things like that. Tons and tons and tons of bike HQs too. But anyways, he ends up going first. So if you guys are noticing a trend, I literally went first only one game this entire tournament because he did beat me out on drops and he ended up rolling a 5. His first turn, though, kind of is a wet noodle. He ends up shooting all of his Dark Reapers into Magnus and just can't really put anything on him. I think Magnus ends up goes down to like 8 wounds. His Shining Spears, they do hop over the wall there and shoot at Magnus, and I don't think that they do anything to Magnus, while his other Shining Spears shoot at the Plague Burst Crawler and just bounce off of that. He ends up charging Magnus, charging the Plague Burst Crawler on my top part of the table. Bounces off Magnus. He was just not rolling very well, or I was rolling really well for the saves. And the Magnus actually swings back and kills almost the entire bike unit. I think 3 were left. And the Plague Bearers, the way he had to pile in, he actually had to be within an inch of the Plague Bearers. So the Plague Bearers kind of piled in, and I think they did 1 wound to a bike. And then the other bikes into the Plague Burst Crawl end up only doing 2 damage to it. So really bad first turn for Mike. I could tell by his face, he's like, oh crap, it's not going to be good. My turn rolls around, kind of shuffle around, and end up smiting the Shining Spears off of Magnus. And then I actually warp time Magnus over the wall. And actually I have both Demon Princes over there too. And I try, so Magnus makes his charge into the bikes, the Shining Spears over there. One Demon Prince makes his charge, and then the other one fails it even with a reroll. He needed like a 7. I rolled a 3 and a 1, rerolled the 1 into another 3. Another 1. So not good for me. And that was actually my Warlord Demon Prince. Oh, sorry. And he was out in front of the Plague Bearers there. So I kill almost all the Shining Spears again. I think there's like 2 or 3 left. They hop over the Plague Burst Crawler the following turn. So the first turn was really good for me because I actually held more, killed more, and all that because he failed, or he forgot to move his Dire Avengers, I guess, up onto an objective. Completely slipped his mind to even do that. He was so excited to get his spears in there, I guess. I don't know. So his turn 2 rolls around, and his Autok with the fusion pistol and all that fun stuff ends up going up right in front of Magnus. All of his biker HQs kind of spread out, and the Dark Reapers don't really move, and then his Dire Avengers kind of shuffle around. Magnus ends up taking 2 wounds just from some random firepower, and then the Autok hits with his fusion pistol, wounds with his fusion pistol, which, by the way, I did get Magnus with the boon of change, and he has the +1 toughness. Wounds with his fusion pistol. I failed to save, so I go ahead and reroll it. Oh, by the way, I did fail Weaver of Fates, so he does not have a 3-up invulnerable. He has a 4-up invulnerable. CP reroll it, fail it again. I'm like, all right, roll your damage. So he rolls it. He rolls a 1 and a 4. So I'm like, okay, cool. Magnus had 2 wounds. He's like, yep, I'm going to CP reroll the 1. So he rerolls the 1 into a 6 and kills Magnus. Oh no, random fusion pistol. It was ridiculous that happened, but hey, it happened. And then Mike ends up plinking at the Plague Burst Crawl on the top again. I did heal him the previous turn with Fleshy Abundance, and then he ends up putting the Plague Burst Crawler down to, I believe it was like 5 or 6 wounds. My second turn rolls around, and I just start kind of like plugging away at stuff. I did not realize the Autok had a 2-up invulnerable save with Protect and all that fun stuff on him. So I did drop an entire unit. My entire unit of horrors shot at the 1 Autok. In hindsight, I should have went ahead and actually shot them at like his Warlocks or something like that, because they had a 4-up save. They actually probably would have ended up killing those. But instead, they bounce off the Autok because I'm a dummy. And I chose not to smite at the Autok because I didn't. I actually ended up smiting the Shining Spears to death, which was another mistake here. And I do end up killing like some Dire Avenger. I think I end up killing a squad back on his objective or something. This turn it ends up being like equal, so we both killed the same. We both held the same. His next turn rolls around. The Autok starts like I think he plinks off the other Demon Prince, I want to say. Yeah, I think he plinks off the other Demon Prince's turn. However, on the flip side, I literally cancel every power he tries to cast. He does not get a single psychic power off, which is good for me. He plinks a bunch of horrors, and then so it kind of just goes back and forth. All of his biker characters just kind of jump around the table, smiting and shooting at my characters. He does a very, very good job of surgically removing them. He's actually normally a Chaos player, and he talked to me about it. He's actually on the Discord channel. Hi, Mike. So hopefully he'll say hi one day on the Discord channel. But so yeah, he kind of bounces around. It kind of boils down to I'm ahead by, I believe, 6 points on the final turn, and he finds a way to actually deny me 3 points by charging his Dark Reapers away from his objective to keep the Plague Bearers from actually being able to get to the objective on that side. What ends up happening is that denies me the bonus point. Because he's able to actually tri-point some Plague Bearers, and the Plague Bearers just kind of swing wet noodles at these Dark Reapers, oddly enough. He denies me any shooting, and I can't kill off two of my mark for death targets. It's really bad for me. Actually, he denied me more points than that, because he denied me a kill. He denied me the possibility of tying for kill more. Yeah, it was a really good play by Mike, really solid play. But in the end, I end up taking it away 26-20. And let's hear what Mike has to say.
Squad. Hi there. Yeah, no, good game. So what'd you think of the game, Mike?
It was a good game, back and forth, but just not enough punch.
Not enough punch. So kind of wound down, which I'm going to talk about it in the video. But he did kill Magnus, but not as early as he would have liked. And then it kind of boiled down. He actually had a clever plan at the end. He charged all of his Dark Reapers into my Plague Bearers to prevent me from getting to an objective, and actually tri-pointed me, so I could not. Denied me like 3 points in the last turn. And so it could have been like a 30-point game, and then instead it turned it to 26-20. So Real tight.
Yep.
Real tight game.
Thank you very much.
Hope you enjoyed the game.
I did.
So, and
Hope play again.
Yeah, definitely. Next tournament, whenever. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yep, thank you.
Hey, how's it going, Heretics? So as y'all can tell by my eyes, they're actually kind of red. Really tired after the 2 days of playing games, but I had a lot of fun. So in the end of the day, I ended up taking away Best Chaos. Fantastic feeling to take away Best Chaos. It was my goal going into it. I wanted to get Best Chaos, top Chaos player again for my second GT. So 2 GTs in a row, I was the top Chaos player. So didn't win the thing, but you know what? Still feels good to do it. I want to go ahead and send a shout out to the Maelstrom Hobbies and Games crew. Sean, David, Robert, thank you guys for putting on the event. I know I helped them build terrain, and they put a lot of effort into it. Sean and David painting all the terrain. Me and David building most of the terrain. With Sean, and Robert did end up helping some there too. So a lot of fun. I had great games. All my opponents were actually really, really good. Really solid opponents. Hopefully they enjoyed playing me too. I know we get really focused, so like Mike was actually trying to make jokes, and like they were going over my head because I was so focused in on the game. Jason's also a clown. A lot of fun. My 4th round opponent. I had a lot of fun with him. So fantastic games. So let's go ahead and so we'll talk from game 1. So Xavier had a fantastic list. I really think had the game not ended on 4, he would have definitely gave me a good run. I kind of was starting to run out of steam. I still had ways to like kill stuff and tie him up. He was out of Plague Bears, so kind of like we only had a few characters each, but I did have Plague Burst Crawlers, and he had Daradeos. Daradeos will have a hard time killing Plague Burst Crawlers, but so it would have been interesting to kind of like play that out and end up seeing what happens. But he was a great opponent, had a lot of fun. He is a fan of the channel, so hopefully I get to play you again, Xavier. I hate when I'm filming sideways because I always look at the camera, and for some reason I look up in the corner. So sorry if I'm looking off to the side. My second round opponent. Sorry, I'm trying to think. Adam. Sorry, Adam, if you watch this. I did not mean to dishearten him that much, and I've had games that way. Because it ends up coming around and biting me in the ass. Game 3, James ends up doing the same thing to me because I end up conceding turn 3. I will say, y'all can make fun of Grey Knights all you want. They actually play into demons, so like my entire army had the demon keyword except for Ariman. Play into my army very, very, very well. Y'all can make fun of me all you want, but 27 damage and smites is no joke. On top of what 40, yeah, he had like 120 bolter shots, and then a few las cannons, which were just like gravy on top of all the smitey goodness. So I think that game, like my positioning errors were definitely a huge factor in that game. I think had I gone first, had I gotten that lucky first dice roll, might have gone the other way, because I would have been able to actually start piling on all my buffs and stuff. Maybe get Magnus over onto the other end and you know, lay waste to one of those land raiders or something. It was really surprising though, because like I said, I forgot that they had the +1 to cast and denies for the entire army, which to me is like, and I get like where you could make a case that Thousand Suns get the full smites, but you know what? Like, I don't know. Well, and Thousand Suns also get 3 psychic disciplines, so we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. Sorry, it looks like I've got like, wow, I guess nothing there. We'll see what ends up happening in the next Psychic Awakening book, right? So, great opponent though. James was really good. He apologized a lot for my dice, but he was a lot of fun, and I'm glad I got to play him. He's actually a very experienced player, very, very good Grey Knights player. Just kind of sucks. His last 2 games ended up being on tables that he couldn't hide those paladins in, which means his list doesn't play nearly as well if he doesn't have anywhere to hide those paladins. So good game, man. Good game. Sorry. Oh man, I'm really tired. My game 4 opponent, Jason, he was definitely the most eccentric of the bunch. He was a lot of fun, and he was having a lot of fun just playing some Warhammer. And he gave me a free energy drink. Just because. He's just like, dude, you want to drink one of these rains? I was like, sure, why not? Y'all know me and my energy drinks. So he gave me a free energy drink. So thank you, Jason, for the free energy drink and the great game. I'm sorry he forgot his Leviathan. I would have definitely let him take it back, but he didn't even remember it until like halfway through my next turn. I feel bad about him not mentioning it because I did notice that he didn't shoot it. Is that taking advantage or not? He was actually very cool. He's like, yeah, dude, I wouldn't reminded you either. So, okay. But, whether or not that was swung the game, I mean, it did stop his Leviathan or his Mortis from shooting one more time, and he killed like a few Marines. I mean, it impacted the game. It definitely impacted the game. How much? I mean, we'll never know. And yeah, it was a great game. Jason was a great opponent, and he took everything in stride. So even when he made mistakes, he was just like, he wasn't one to make excuses. He's like, yep, I fucked that up. Like his measurement in turn 1 with the Leviathan. I think that was an honest mistake. That was an honest, like, he thought he was within 24, but he wasn't. So, because I did it in a way that way he had to move to actually shoot me. He was out by like maybe, I would say maybe a half an inch. It wasn't very far, so slight miscalculation there. And then my game 5 opponent, Mike. I had a lot of fun playing Mike. Gotta be serious. Mike actually kind of scared me. Because he looks like, when you look at him, he's very, very serious. And I kind of felt like he might be a jerk when I played him. But he was actually really, really nice. So I guess just don't judge a book by its cover. So Mike was super awesome. A lot of fun. He took his bad dice like, I think because he is kind of a stern person, like you couldn't tell what he was thinking, and that actually is really good. He has a good poker face. Like if I played him in poker, I'd have a very hard time. I'm a very emotional person, so I take a lot of verbal or facial cues are a big thing for me. So and yeah, when I play games, I get super focused. So sorry if you guys think I'm being a dick when we're playing games. I'm just really focused. It's not that I'm not trying to joke around or anything. I'm just like, I'm in the zone, right? But Mike was a lot of fun. His list was really cool. I have not played a Eldar list like that at all since like pretty much the Inari times. Dark Reapers, Shining Spears. It's nice to see them back on the table, and they performed very, very well. His dice just kind of did not cooperate with him at all in that first turn. And I will say Plagueburst Crawlers are amazing against Dark Reapers. I learned that playing against my buddy Alex and his Dark Reapers when I was starting to play the game, and Alex was kicking my teeth in every single game, which Alex is on the channel now all the time. So it's great to see him, and I know we're going to start seeing a lot more Shining Spears, a lot more Dark Reapers with the points drops and things from Chapter Approved. And Mike was a great tactical opponent. Like I said, he turned basically it could have easily been a 30-point game into a 26 to almost, it would have been a 26 to 21, because if he killed 2 more Plague Bearers, he would have actually had 1 more Reaper point. And yeah, great opponent. Thanks so much for the game. As for the list, as you guys always want to know, so I think the list performed admirably. Now, I don't think it's my style list. And the reason why I say that is I tend to play hyper aggressive. I'm a very aggressive player. I am very, very, like, I love close combat. Like, close combat's my thing. I just love, I don't know why. I just do. I like it. When I played World of Warcraft, I was a rogue and warrior. Rogue and warrior were my favorites. So that just kind of shows you guys kind of my preferred play style. So I just couldn't. I knew, like, anybody who's listened to like Art of War or TJ talk, even when I talked to him about his list, because this is kind of basically his list with a few tweaks. I I didn't feel right just boomerang Magnus. I was just like, I'm going full bore into your ass. This is what's happening every single time, and I did it. It worked for me, so there we go. But Magnus was a lot of fun. I love putting Magnus on the table. Thank you, Riddick. So my buddy Riddick, he let me borrow his Magnus. So thanks, Riddick. You're the one that allowed me to play this list. Magnus was a lot of fun. The Demon Princes were Demon Princes. So the tweaks I made with the 3-up invulnerable save and the axe didn't really come into play very often. It did come into play against the Leviathan Dreadnought. Other than that, not really. I honestly will say I probably would have preferred the Talons because I ended up missing a lot more attacks because, hitting on 3s. I did really like the 3-up invulnerable save, though. Having 2 3-up invulnerable save Demon Princes or a 3-up invulnerable save Demon Prince and Magnus running around was really powerful. I could actually, the crap part is you can't buy another Warlord trait right now because I was like, I could do a 3-up Demon Prince, Magnus, and Lord of Change, and have 3 3-up things. That would be amazing. But can't do that. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Like I said, I don't know. The axe I wasn't really digging. I also realize now, the more I play an all psychic power army, it's super powerful. But yet again, I don't know if that's my style of play. Relying on the ability to cast these psychic powers, because as showcased by my Grey Knights game, once I failed all those powers, I literally had no punch at all. I couldn't do anything, and it was not a good feeling. Just feeling like you just did nothing is not good, right? It's kind of like the feeling when Marines wipe out half your army turn 1. That's kind of what it felt like. And more often than not, I was actually failing quite a few psychic powers. Few of them were critical, but I failed a lot more than I would have liked. And so, I think the psychic heavy armies are a few psychic powers to supplement the army, fantastic. But where that's kind of your thing, I don't know if it's 100% me. But I did enjoy the flexibility because I had a lot of flexibility with what I was able to do. Plague Bearers honestly actually performed pretty admirably in this. Now, I did only face Marines once, but against the Marines, they wrapped up a Leviathan Dreadnought and an Invictor Warsuit, basically making half my army untargetable for a good chunk of the game, saving a lot of my stuff. That was really good. Against the Eldar, stringing them out and they were just blocking up the board all over the place. Against Xavier, he actually had to dedicate quite a few resources to removing those Plague Bearers, especially once I got my asp on them. His 23 and 20 man blob did not last nearly as long as the 30 man blob with -2 and a 4-up invulnerable save. So that was good. Game 2, they didn't really do anything because that game didn't. And game 3, I just got my ass whooped. So that is what it is, right? The Horrors, the Horrors just did not perform very well. Going into the Marines, the Marines, they didn't kill nearly as many Marines, even out of cover and out of stealthy, because I was purposely trying to counteract that. They didn't kill very many, and then against the Eldar, they just kind of like I said, had I shot them at the Warlocks, they probably would have definitely done a lot more. Or had I deployed them in a different way, maybe had them go shoot at those Dire Avengers earlier, that might have been better. But that's it for that. And the Brimstones were good because they just sat on objectives and they're awesome. Actually, that's a really clever. I like that deep striking some Brimstones for 1 CP. It's a really good late turn objective holder, or your opponent leaves a objective unattended, which can actually allow those Brimstones to just kind of drop in there. So actually, really really good. And Plague Burst Crawlers, I love them. I'm gonna run them again. I'm gonna run them again and again and again. I love Plague Burst Crawlers. They're so good. Oh god, I think I would say they're borderline probably my favorite model in the game. They're just so versatile, so fantastic. So now what's going to happen in the future, right? So this is my second GT. Best Chaos is neat, 2 in a row. But we can always do better, right? Maybe I'll try to win one next year. So I am running a RTT in January. I do intend to participate. So there's an RTT in early January. I think I might end up going to that, depending on what happens. We'll see. Funding and stuff like that, right? Work, all those things. Definitely got to start attending more RTTs this coming year. With my wife in med school, or my wife in her doctorate program in Kansas City. I'm going to go enjoy 2 weeks with her, hang out, and have a lot of fun away from Warhammery stuff. But I'm going to come back refreshed, renewed, with newfound purpose. I did go pick up some more Chaos Space Marine models. I've got ideas. I've got a lot of ideas. Whether or not I get time to test them out between here and this RTT in early January, that's to be seen. I think I might just end up going to the RTT just to see how I can do, testing out some new things. I will say I really like Alpha Legion a lot, and I now have some models where I can actually test out some of the Night Lord stuff. So hopefully y'all are excited to see some of this stuff, because I'm excited to put it on the table and try it out. And I did go, so I'm converting up some Chaos Terminators from normal Terminators, and I bought a box of Chaos Terminators. So from here on, so I'm going to be testing the Nurgle Demon Engines version 2.0 with lots of changes from Chapter Approved. Chapter Approved gave me a lot of flexibility. I really, really, really like the new list. We'll see how it does. I might end up taking that to this RTT, so we'll see. And it ends up kind of what ends up getting painted, what ends up getting primed. Because as it is, I could take the Demon Engines list, and I'll basically have the 3 Helldrakes. And the Master Possession that won't be painted. Kind of sucks. I mean, I guess I could spend the next few weeks trying to get them at least 3 colors standard. Helldrakes, though, are a pain in the butt to paint, right? So we'll see. And then my other list is Alpha Legion Obliterators. Absolutely love them. Absolutely love them. So testing them out in a lot of battle reports and stuff like that. Funny enough, most of the guys that I played at this tournament, which this speaks a lot to kind of the support channel I have, or the support network here. A lot of the guys that I played with here were actually watching this live stream the other day, right before this GT, while I was talking about my GT list. So they kind of knew my thought process going into it. So is that good or bad being on YouTube? I guess I kind of now know why, like, some YouTube stores or Warhammer YouTube guys don't talk about their lists. Because you throw it out there online, and then they're like, oh, okay. And then guys listen to you, and they're like, okay, now I know what you're doing with your list. And more than one person told me that. That GT, they were like, oh yeah, we were listening to you last night. I was like, ah, crap. Luckily, I don't think I played, except for maybe Xavier. Yeah, I don't know if Xavier listened to it, but yeah. But it's good. I'm glad that my friends, I'll say that these guys are becoming my friends, are fans of the channel, and they come to figure out how to beat me. So, and obviously some of them are beating me. So please stop beating me. Please stop watching don't stop watching the channel. But no, it was a lot of fun. Had a good time. Can't wait for my next event. Like I said, January. And if you guys are interested, the Heretic Wargaming RTT1 will be going on January 25th. Everybody is invited. There is only 20 spots, though. It's being held here in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Just a one-day RTT. Should be a lot of fun. I try to do I like to have good prize support for the players, because it supports the store, right? The store owners give it up his space all day to allow us to muck up the place. So, and on top of it, you guys get, everybody gets something. I'm just going to put it that way. Everybody gets something. Not a big thing, but you get something at least. So, You can't walk away and feel bad because you get 3 games and you will still get a little something. So doesn't take away. If you're one of the top 3, you're definitely going to get something real nice. But everybody at least gets a little something. So we'll just leave it there. If you've been to any of my events, you guys know what I'm talking about. So, but anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks once again to Maelstrom Games and Hobbies for hosting this RTT. And letting me participate and wear my t-shirt and take pictures with me in my t-shirt. Heretic Wargaming. But if you guys enjoyed this, please hit the subscribe button. Check us out. Check out our Patreon page, Discord, and Facebook, all of which will be located down below. Until next time, I'll see you guys here at see you guys next time here at Heretic Wargaming, where chaos reigns.